Oh, it's that time of the week. It's Monday, so we must be overreacting. College football, college football, college football. How much do I love you? And I don't think we realize as fans how short this time period of this thing we call college football. Couple questions on my mind. Is Texas A&M for real? Should we start to be concerned about LSU? Is Colorado for real? Who's going to be that last G5 team to make it in? We're going to really break down a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about this AP poll. We rip the AP poll every week. This week is not going to be any different. Only on Overreaction Mondays. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Today I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, a.k.a. Downtown Nino Brown. Yes, sir. Welcome to another marvelous episode of Overreaction Monday. I am the governor of college football, and with us today is a guy that pulls a lot of strings behind the scenes, the one, the only, the senator of college football. Ooh. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know I'm blurry right now. The senator of college football, Mr. Dinell. Also with us today, the waviest. The waviest to ever do it. My guy also pulls a lot of strings behind the scenes. Moon Vibes is in the building. Nino was enjoying this one from home tonight. Shout out to my guy Nino. Guys, you excited for tonight's episode?
Yes, sir. 100%.
All right, well, we're not gonna waste no time. We're gonna kick this episode off with the AP poll. I love saving the AP poll for this show. Just because it's so well balanced, we getting three opinions, and I always love that. We're gonna break this down, Moon. I know you've seen the show, you've been on the show quite a few times. We break it down, we break this AP poll down into thirds. So, Moon, I'm coming to you first. What's your overall feeling about teams 25 through 18? And I'll go over those. It's Missouri at 25, Illinois still holding on at 24, Colorado. Hey, Dion said don't even rank us. He didn't even want to be ranked at 23. Washington State is having a really good year. They're sneaky and it's so under the radar because they're not in the. It will be a conference in a couple of years. It's just not a conference at the moment. Army at 21, SMU at 20, Ole Miss at 19, Pitt at 18. So, what's your overall feeling about teams 25 through 18? And is Mizzou worthy of still being in the top 25?
No, I'm tired of the Mizzou talk already, and I started off spicy. Cajun boil, crab boil spicy.
Oh, wow.
Mizzou shouldn't even be in the top 25. And I feel like they keep holding on for the slimmest margins just because of the SEC bias, and somebody just got to come out and call it out how it is. I'm not putting Mizzou in my top 25, especially after not being able to score against Alabama. That's number one. Two, that sticks out to me, Pittsburgh, I would argue could be a little bit higher, maybe higher than Kansas State. And I don't know if I'm spilling the beans, and our counterparts in purple, let's just say Mr. Kelly's team. I think they could be higher than them. Illinois losing to Oregon, I kind of look at it in the same scope that, like, if you play a big team, a Big Ten team that is on the upper echelon, like a Oregon, you're playing Ohio State, like, why is it that Illinois still top in the top 25? Well, I feel like the committee is giving them that love. Like, hey, well, it is Oregon. I mean, it is.
Can I push back a little bit?
It is respect.
I expected Illinois to come in and give Oregon a much better game
than they did.
Gave them.
Yeah,
their effort was so minimal. I've never seen a coach on the sideline look more clueless. And I'm a Brett Bielema guy. I never seen a coach look more clueless than Brett Bielema. They showed a clip of him right before the halftime. He looking like this. Like, bro, motivate your players. Figure out the way to do something. What you doing isn't working. You need to get a Looney, whatever the offensive coordinator name is. Yo, call something else. Let's figure this out. And Illinois is out of my top 25. Only
I could understand what you're saying there.
And they ruined my parlay, man.
Listen, I can see you saying that with like Illinois, Missouri, based on how they lost. Forget your conference, like how you lost in this specific game. I totally understand that. But then it makes me think about how you win. SMU winning the way they did against Duke, man. I feel like they need more credit. I get it. They have a whole bunch of turnovers in that game, but they did have a blocked field goal to even put them in position to win.
Right.
They did weather the storm, especially being on the road, traveling so much over the last just 2 weeks combined. ACC Huddle was there, by the way. Shout out to ACC Huddle.
Shout out to ACC Huddle, man. They always show us ACC Network in general shows us a lot of love, and you don't really see that a lot because we are competitors, but they do show us a lot of love every time. What's the former lineman name? He shows us a lot of love every time you see. I cannot think.
He was that guy in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Remember, he played for Clemson.
He came and talked to us, and it wasn't a fake conversation. It was a real conversation we had with bro.
Outside of that, bro, Wazoo being in the top 25 is magical right now.
Yeah.
And somebody had to take Navy's place. Colorado being in there, it's like about time. But I feel like they earned it. They earned it. They had to earn it this year, and I really do appreciate the fact that they're both eligible now. But outside of that, I'll let D-Now take care of Army and talk about Army. But Bryson Daly is a freaking masterpiece. I look forward to watching him cook every Saturday and Thursday, week in and week out.
Can we go off subject for a minute?
Yeah.
And I want to ask D now this question. How does that work? So if I'm a player at a military academy, what paperwork do you sign? Even if you were to, let's say, enter the portal, do you still have to give out those obligated, 5 years post? Like how does it, if he decided like, hey, I want to go play SEC ball, but hey, I still want to do my civic duty after I graduate, like how does that even work, or does that work at all?
I'm not 100% sure on the details of transferring, but I want to say it's if you transfer prior to your junior year, then there's no obligations. But if you transfer like for your senior year, I want to say there has to be some sort
You're
of
still obligated, okay?
Because I believe their junior year is when they actually sign their contract and when they start their training. I may be wrong, so if anyone knows, please correct me. But that's my understanding behind it. And
how do you like the construction of teams 25 through 18?
I mean, like Moon said, Missouri shouldn't be ranked. I wouldn't have had an issue if they kept Vandy there, honestly.
Me either.
With how well they played Texas. But I mean, you could also throw in Memphis, like Jalen was saying. You could even throw in Tulane there. Colorado, I mean, I'm going to let my hot take speak for itself there.
You're looking brilliant. I'm looking foolish because
it's my one that I've hit on, so I got to keep riding it.
I mean, but it was a thing of spicy takes. It wasn't, we're not talking jalapeno spice level. We're talking about Carolina Reaper, and you hit it in my opinion because you look at Colorado's preseason schedule. You're like, yo, it was murderous, and that was a spicy take. And the fact that you might be dead on with your take, that's phenomenal, dude.
I mean, like Moon said too, I love that Washington State's in there. That Pac-2 is finally getting some love, and their quarterback is sneaky. He's going to be a finalist for a lot of awards. I mean, he may not win it, but he's going to be a finalist. Army, again, I love what they're doing. And as much as it hurts, because I'm a Navy guy, seeing Army succeed, I gotta love. Ole Miss, I think, as much as I was on that bandwagon coming into the season, I think they're still too high right here. I wouldn't have had a problem if they dropped to 24, 25.
I don't care how KT felt about Ole
Miss. I'm heartbreaking.
I'm heartbroken too.
Me and D now were like on the same wavelength.
They were my national champion.
Same. I'm not gonna waver from that. But same. But you're right.
I mean, they're struggling to make the playoffs right now.
They are.
SMU, I think they may be a little too low ranked. I mean, they overcame that quarterback controversy, whatever was going on there at the beginning of the season. And the guy they got playing now, he's cooking.
Kevin Jones,
I'm excited to see how they do Saturday. And I think if they win that, I wouldn't be surprised if they're 15, maybe 14 after that, because they'll be 8-1.
And they play. Is it Pitt they play on the second?
Yeah.
Man, that game is bigger than Clemson.
I'm a huge Eli fan too. There, I think he's going to be a stud by the time it's over. So
Pitt got 9 days to prepare for that game, but it's going to be in Dallas, and I think that fan base is really going to show up. And show
SMU's sneaky.
Home I hate that RJ Maryland is out for the year, though.
That's not it hurts and it sucks, but that offense, anybody can cook.
Yeah. Jennings slinging it around to anyone. So exactly.
Anyone. If you get open, you hit your spot. Lashley is gonna make you get the ball.
And I think that's why, even though I don't agree with Lashley and how he conducted the quarterbacks, I think he should have made a sound decision and allowed that other person who could have went and started somewhere else. But with Kevin Jennings, what he gives them an RPO, it's just out of this world, because you gotta, he will throw it, he will run it, or he'll hand it off. And you're right, everybody eats in that offense.
It's like every week they have a big play, explosive play over 70 yards.
Yeah, they're fun to. They're extremely fun to watch.
Can I raise a point though to you?
Absolutely.
I understand how Navy lost, but it was really just because of turnovers.
Oh yeah, 6 turnovers. Their quarterback has a broken thumb right now, so gripping the ball was pretty difficult for him.
That was the best defense that they will play this entire season, and they had 6 turnovers. So my thought process is this: I understand Navy was already on the edge. However, Notre Dame did beat Texas A&M, who just this past Saturday, A&M beat. So I'm thinking in my head, well, if you lose to Notre Dame, do you really fall far?
I think that's the difference between the Associated Press poll and like a college football playoff poll, where they do show some grace and there isn't a lot of movement because they want you to actually earn it. The games will say who deserves and who doesn't deserve to be there. I always go back to this with the Associated Press. Nothing made me mad when Florida back in 2022 were unranked.
Like that, man.
They barely beat Utah and they jumped to 12. So preseason they not top 25, but they 12 after winning one game. Like, that's bogus. Like, get out of here. So I think that's why I like to open with this, because I think half the time it's a joke. In my opinion,
there's no consistency.
Yeah. Like some of it just don't make sense. Like, certain teams can have a bye, they'll go down. Other teams can have a bye and they'll stay the same. It just doesn't.
Miami,
right? It doesn't make sense to me. So let's talk about teams 17 through 9. We got Kansas State at 17. A team who won't make me a believer in, because I initially had somebody. Oh, you're not believing anymore? Wow.
I'll get into that later.
LSU at 16, Boise State at 15, Bama at 14, Indiana, Kirk Cignetti, Mr. Google Me, I win, 13. At 11, Iowa State. At 11, Clemson. I hate when they do scary stuff like that. Texas A&M at 10. I don't know about that one. BYU. I finally believe in BYU. I said this earlier. At 9. So, Moon, say 17 through 9. How are you feeling about this grouping? And
they do not watch Clemson. They don't watch Clemson. They don't watch Clemson, bro. And it's okay. Clemson went down in the rankings without even doing anything. They were sitting back watching YouTube TV with Dabo and found a way to go down in the rankings. Like, that's nasty.
The same. But I know we ain't got to here,
but we go down. Okay. All right. I'm a part of Clemson faithful. So, okay. All right. But meanwhile, Iowa State, who got pushed to the limit by the old team that was high up on our list, still stays in the 11th spot. It don't make sense. However, I'm not letting Kansas State off the hook, bro.
What's your issue with Kansas State? Is it the physicality? What is it?
Yes, that is the physicality. It is, why are y'all in these close games in the first place? They would have lost if it wasn't for Jalen Daniels fumbling the rock.
Can we admit that Colin Klein might have been a big loss for them? Like, people keep acting like the schemes don't matter. I'll shake your hand
on that.
He's the reason Texas A&M is dominating this year.
100%.
They don't have the same type of explosion in their offense.
Avery Johnson's really taken a step back without Klein.
Yeah, and it's so hard. You know, you can try to keep the scheme the same, but, you know, situational football is what matters. And Colin Klein, I didn't think he would leave, but he left for greener pastures, because he's certainly going to be a name come December that teams who are looking for a new head coach, he's one of the people we're going to be talking about. And I feel bad for my guy, Jamie Chadwell, because the writing was on the wall for him, what he done at Coastal and when he done at Liberty. But this loss to Kennesaw State, we gotta look at that differently.
There's no way that I'm taking an undefeated Pitt and putting them below a 1-loss barely Kansas State or a 3-loss LSU. I'm putting Pittsburgh above them. and I'm giving them their flowers. I would even put them over Boise State because I listened to what you said on College Football Showdown. I agree that on a neutral field, our irony is that if they play, it'd probably be in Las Vegas, right? For the championship.
It would be at
So that's hilarious.
It's essentially a whole game at Allegiant Stadium, right? Because that's where they had the Mountain West Media Days. Which we were credentialed for, and we're going to make it to next year.
Yeah, but I just believe that UNLV would give Boise State the smoke again if they play on a neutral field, similar to what we were talking about with Oregon and Ohio State.
For sure.
Foreshadowed that to see, but it's like they still won, so I get leaving Boise State there. He saved the day, but it's just hard for me to look at Kansas State and take them seriously anymore, bro. Like, for real. Y'all shouldn't have even been in I understand it's a rivalry game against Kansas. But Jalen Daniels, who in his mind has a superstar development trait, and he feels like he can progress himself faster than the coach can. So he's over here going crazy. And if it wasn't for him fumbling the rock in the fourth quarter at the end of the game, Kansas State wouldn't even be in this conversation anymore. And
we can use that same thought frame where they were in Boulder a couple of weeks ago.
Yes,
Colorado was able to complete the comeback, and they had a defensive meltdown. They are. I mean, but that's the name of the game because we've seen the same thing with 2022.
Win's a win, though.
Yeah. Win is an absolute win.
But can we see the foreshadowing though? Like the
100%, 100%. But
the BYU game still scares me because I'm like, with your offensive scheme, how did they bully you the way that they bully you? It's one thing if you lose a close game. We almost had it. It's another thing if I take you and I shake the shit out of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, go sit in the corner, and that's what BYU did to Kansas State. I cannot unsee that. And I don't take them seriously. And I believe that Kansas State will find a way to win the conference. I hope. But, based on what we've seen recently, it ain't looking good.
I have more faith in the Iowa State team that just got pushed to the limit than I do for a Kansas State team that's still trying to figure it out with A.V. Johnson and a defense that I still have a lot of question marks for.
I would agree with that. I agree with that 100%. So I'm going to go to D now. Team 17 through 9. How do you like the grouping and who should be arranged?
This is probably the worst part of the whole top 25, and that's saying a lot because the bottom half is bad.
That's a great that's a phenomenal take, actually.
I think Boise State is too high still. They played one solid team. I'll give them two. UNLV is a pretty solid team.
For sure.
Them in Oregon.
Yeah, them in Oregon, absolutely. Indiana, I believe, is getting no respect, and they put that shellacking on Saturday with their backup quarterback,
right?
Which just shows you Coach C can coach his ass off. I mean, yes, it was only a 14-point game, but you got to think, still putting up 31 with your backup quarterback.
And Rourke is a guy, so that was incredible for me as well. I'm going to ask you, D, now, same question I proposed to Jalen a little bit earlier. Will they be able to retain Kirk Cignetti? We it's not like this is something we haven't seen before. He goes to a state like, Florida, where the state taxes are, you know what I'm saying? And they may have two programs that are looking for head coaches after this year. So, will he go to greener pastures? Because he did this in 1 year. He's going to be somebody's going to try there. Huh?
I mean, obviously you see his work. He turned James Madison into a powerhouse when they were in the FCS. And I mean, he turned a basketball school into a top 13 team in the country in crazy. 1 season.
That's crazy.
So I mean,
those when you said that, dog. That's crazy.
So I mean, any big school like that would be stupid not to reach out to him. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, like you said.
It's gonna be like Shane McMahon.
Depends on the opening.
Here comes the money.
Somebody gonna throw something crazy
out the most. Yeah. I'll agree with you guys. Clemson too low. I would have them probably top 8 in the country. Garrett Riley's got Cade clicking finally, and that offense is looking scary. Another one, I would have Iowa State higher. I would probably have them right behind BYU. Yes, I know they've had some scary games lately, but
they still won them.
as much as it hurts to say, I'm a Rocco fan. I think he's going to be an absolute stud by the time he leaves Iowa State. And then, like we said, Colin Klein's got Texas A&M cooking. I think they might be one of the most scariest teams in the country, and that's saying something with the conference they play in. So,
we're gonna speak a little bit more heavily about Texas A&M later, because there's a discussion we have to have. So let's talk about these top 8 teams.
Wyman need to go to the chair. Never mind.
We got at number 8, we got Notre Dame, 7 Tennessee, at 6 Texas. Listen, I apologize to Texas fans a couple weeks ago. I take my apology back, bro. I got Miami at 5, Ohio State at 4, Penn State at 3, Georgia at 2, Oregon at 1. Moon, these top 8 teams, are these the right teams? No love for BYU or Red Hot Texas A&M?
I'm question mark on Tennessee, bro. I would put Notre Dame over Tennessee. And
is it
it's
the
like
offense? And Notre Dame
offense
started clicking.
Finally.
They finally cut Riley Leonard. It's almost like, man, it was the passing the ball part that we were saying, like, man, when are they going to just throw the ball down
That's
the
why
field?
I thought they would lose to Louisville, because I'm like, you guys struggling to move the ball. With Jeff Brown and that Louisville offense, what we're doing, but before this recent slide,
it's like they doing their offense in stages. Like, hey, well, let's just focus on the run game this week, and then hey, we'll add on another layer. Now we're gonna do a little bit of read option, Riley, and then hey, now we'll add a little play action dynamic. What they got with Jeremiah Love is just cooking. So I just look at that and say, hey, they're gonna run the rock every game and play solid defense, run the gosh darn football. But for me, it's just like, Dean Alsplin was amazing because I said, well, why does it feel like the NIU game doesn't matter? And it's because the Texas A&M game holds so much weight. So it kind of like the scales and balances checks out. So that part I don't have no problem with. But I feel like Tennessee is not the same Tennessee that we think in our minds. I think that if we're keeping it a buck, the AP poll don't watch Miami. Because how did Miami beat Florida State in a rivalry matchup? And I mean, belt to hind parts. And literally, it's like no respect.
So with Tennessee, and my apologies for cutting you off. With Tennessee, we're always talking about Heupel, and then from time to time, we'll always talk about Joey Hazel. Is Tim Banks not getting enough credit for what he's doing on the defense side of the ball? He's kind of early in his tenure there, but I feel like Tennessee has been able to play some pretty daggone good defense, considering that this is a team that is designed to score a bunch of points and score them in bunches, but that's not what's happening. This is a defensive team, whether we like it or not.
For sure, and that's kind of scary to like
and a run-oriented team, for sure.
Run the rock out of the veer and shoot, and just and I think it's really going to come down to like trust, coach trust, player trust.
Should Nico transfer?
Yes.
I don't want to see it because then I don't want to have to go through his game and have to dissect it even further.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Like what would be an appropriate fit?
Yeah, would I like to see him in a go-go offense for sure, but I don't know if my guy is going to be there enough to even make that happen.
Right.
He might get a head coach's job this year, offensive coordinator at UNLV. Brendan, but like back on topic, Nico, it's really like Nino said a couple weeks back, like it's pushing the ball to the outside in the numbers. They're not running the ball enough.
But that's where their base of their players are lined up at, though. Like that's what makes it so difficult because of the wide splits.
I just can't get out of my head seeing them put up that many points against the Chattanooga and that many points against all these other teams in NC State. And then I'm seeing y'all struggle over the last couple of weeks. And it's like, somebody pinch me and tell me Tennessee is still good.
But I think it's because initially coming into the season, I'm not saying we thought that Dylan Sampson was a slouch coming into the season, but we didn't think he'll be putting up the numbers he's putting up. I think teams has been able to make adjustments like, oh, you worried about Brooke McCoy, you worried about Squirrel White. Like, hold on. It's that kid that's in the backfield that's making this thing go. So I think they were catching people off guard, but now people are hip to what they're doing. So, like, I think they were able to have multi-dimensional, during some of those games because people wouldn't know that Dylan Sampson was going to eat up yardage the way he was eating up yardage. So
facts. Facts. And like some of the things that stick out to me were just 1 through 8.
Mm.
Oregon passed the first test about being number one because we all was saying, well, like, hey, what are you
Nobody
gonna
wants to be
do?
number one.
What are you gonna
That's it.
do when you get the crown, man?
Mhm.
Heaviest
Heavy as a
head that
head.
wears the crown.
Mhm.
So Oregon handled business against Illinois, which made me feel good. Seeing that, but then it made me have question marks about another team in the Big Ten to see how they were going to win. For
Mhm.
Penn State to go into Camp Randall, where
Mhm.
kids that like to jump around and do what they did in the second half after Drew Eller got hurt,
Mhm.
they showed me a lot because it showed me that like we already saw them do it versus
Rapid
USC.
fire. Who's their best running back?
Allen probably.
What you say, D now?
Allen.
I think it's Case Allen too. And I would have never said that a couple of years ago. I'd have never said that.
Oh man, that I just feel like they need to change their running scheme. Like it's too vanilla for me. I'm no pun intended because they wear all white all the time. But they're just so vanilla. But I feel like they are well deserving of that number 3 spot. In fact, I wouldn't put Ohio State above them. No, I wouldn't. In fact, I would move Miami up and put Miami at 4, Penn State at 3, Georgia at 2, Ohio State at 1. Georgia is kind of off the radar because they didn't play this past week.
Yeah.
And then 6, Texas. I mean, you can't be at number 6 and have Vandy take you to the wire. So I get people's point of saying like, hey, Vandy should be still top 25. But my point is always going to be solidified because I watched Georgia State beat Vandy in person with my own eyes.
And
I
then
saw it.
we seen Marshall beat Georgia State. That stuff is definitely don't leave your mind. So D now, coming back to you. How do you feel about these top 8 teams?
Yeah, honestly, the first place I would start is I would take 6 and 7 and just bump them down the line. So I'd have Notre Dame, BYU, Texas A&M at 6, 7, 8 right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then honestly, I wouldn't have a problem if you flip-flopped Ohio State and Miami. I think with the way Indiana beat down Nebraska 2 weeks ago, and then for Nebraska to come back and hold Ohio State almost to the complete end in Columbus, absolutely. Yeah. Again, just shows how good Indiana is and showed the weakness of Ohio State's offense. But at the same time, you could play devil's advocate. Cam Ward's looked kind of human these last couple of weeks with his turnovers. But as for 1, 2, and 3, I don't have a problem there. I honestly think Penn State may even beat Ohio State this Saturday.
I'm with you.
I'm going 100%.
If Aller plays. If Aller plays.
That is the caveat for sure. If Aller plays. That USC game showed me a lot. And I actually, it made me have more belief in Andrew Cottle, Nicky, and his ability to call plays as an offensive coordinator. Because I said Penn State is the style. I always just thought that get a lead, play with that lead, and utilize the running game, and hold on. I'm like, oh, they down 14. They're not built like this. Oh, I was wrong. And that's when my belief in Penn State went through the roof. I'm like, oh, so you guys can win more ways than one. So I hope this comes to fruition versus Ohio State because they've been a little rough for a long time.
The last couple of weeks for Penn State have been quite impressive, y'all. Like chill worthy because we couldn't see this level of Penn State for the last couple of years. It's like we've been waiting, and this is the class that they've been banking on to do it.
Do you think the new format of the big conference, I'll forever call it Big Ten, the Big Ten, but you think the new format fits them better as far as it's not like what was it, East and West?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I love it. It
gives Penn State an actual chance to play in the conference championship.
It does because every year they had to go through Michigan and Ohio State.
Yep.
Think about that. You're depressed. Now I see why y'all would be depressed.
Right.
Like now y'all actually have some life.
We have to make it to a game out there.
100%.
Let's move right along. We had a big time showdown Friday night in the Mountain West, and UNLV took on Boise State. And UNLV had plenty of opportunities to win the game, but ultimately they lost 29-24. You know, these two teams could possibly meet in the conference championship. What are your thoughts on that and your takeaways from this game?
Yeah, this game I loved this game. UNLV's defense made Ashton Genty look human. I think it was 33 for 124. So barely under 4 yards a carry. Probably his worst yards per carry all season. So I love that. I love Brennan Marion, like Moon and Nino. We've said it before. I think he's going to be a head coach somewhere next year.
For sure.
Surprised he isn't already. But it also, them playing in the championship game, it comes back to them the old saying, it's hard to beat a team twice in a season. I wouldn't be shocked if UNLV beats them in the conference championship game, therefore ending Boise's run at the playoffs. So
yeah. I like it. So Moon,
where's our Boise State guy at, man?
I was waiting for him. I think he's a little nervous. Even after the win, I think he's a little nervous. He's normally
as he should be.
Yeah, he's not in here. So Moon, I think me, you, and Nino kind of had the idea that UNLV would win this game. It was frustrating seeing them not pull this one out, as there were a few plays away from being undefeated. If we think about the Syracuse game and we think about this game, you know, a lot of people will be looking at UNLV in a different lens, but you know, that's why we are the 1%ers, and you know, it is what it is. So what were your takeaways from this game, Moon?
A couple of weeks ago, we were having breaking news coming out of UNLV that their starting quarterback was sitting out for the rest of the season because the funds, the direct deposit did not hit his bank account.
I love days like that in college football. That was one of my favorite days this year.
Think about that time.
Then a running back announces the next day,
"Hey, I'm not playing. Please respect my decision." You know, and then fast forward even a little bit more to where we are, and you have like the Syracuse game, which is like, if there's I think they're gonna want that Syracuse game back even more than this one because they know that they can get Boise again.
I agree.
That one still stands.
That Syracuse game may be the reason why they don't make the playoff. Is that they had the game, they squandered the lead. It was bad, bro.
We got to think too. That was Haj Malik's first game, wasn't it? So after all the craziness of that week, for them to even be 3-point loss and all that, I mean, got to give them some props. Yes, they lost.
HMW in this game was impressive, but I don't like the fact that he was the leading rusher. Like, because he was forced to scramble because they kept making the pocket collapse on him, and it just limited their efficiency in the offense. But they did, to Dino's point, made great strides in taking care of Ashton Genty because all he needs is just a little space, a little crease, and he's out of there.
He's gonna make something shake for sure.
Yeah, I love Jaden Bradley in his 34-yard touchdown that he had in the game. I loved it because it just made the game just a little bit more spicy in Las Vegas. I said, it's the third quarter, game's still close. We got a game right now. And then it's like when you realize how heartbreaking this is because this is the biggest crowd that they had at UNLV for this matchup. They broke attendance records for this game. Yeah. For them to come all the way and then still lose is gut-wrenching. However, I do gotta give some praise to Maddox Madsen because he did have to step up in key moments. Just be a game manager, bro. Like, just don't give it away. And he allowed them to secure an early lead in this matchup. But I think the lasting image that I'm gonna have in my head is just OC Brendan, man. Like, I know you're gonna leave some meat on the bone, but this should be further inspiration of that. When you meet them next time, you're gonna have to have a different game plan than this first bout. It's gonna be like kind of like Foreman versus Ali. You're gonna have to figure out another strategy to go about it.
I will say on top of that, sorry, Moon, to cut you off, but Jaden Thomas needs to touch the ball more. He only had 7 carries.
That's ridiculous.
Ricky White, who I think is one of the best group of 5 wide receivers, only had 5 catches for 57 yards. They need those 2 guys to go off if they're going to beat Boise.
You know what was crazy to me about that game? And I judge players, coaches, personnel during winning time. How do you play during winning time? You can have a terrible game all game, but how do you play during winter time? Shout out to Spencer Danielson, head coach at Boise State. They got the ball, I think it was a little bit over 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, UNLV didn't see the ball again.
Nope.
Night. Put the kids to sleep.
Right, hey, put the women and children in bed. Let's go looking for dinner. Yo, 7 minutes. You couldn't get a stop when it was time for winter time. They'll get them third and shorts. They continuously wanted it just a little bit more than UNLV. That's the lasting image from that game when I think about it. I'm like, y'all couldn't get a stop with 7 minutes left. And in college football.
Yeah.
And it's not like they were doing anything too crazy on offense either. And that's the part that makes it so frustrating. It's just like third down conversion here, missed tackle here. Like it just showed me that they didn't step up and rise to the moment like we thought that they could and would do. But man, they live to fight another day, especially since the Mountain West race is picking up with Utah State winning, Colorado State winning. Man, Mountain West is spicy right now, man.
Man, Mountain West is beautiful. And to add to your point, Moon, it's one thing like, if you playing poker with a group of friends and after a while you start studying tendencies, and you're trying to figure out, hey man, you got a good hand or not right now. Boys, the card, you see the card, stop it. And they couldn't stop it. That was the more frustrating thing. Hey, number 2 getting the ball.
This is how Oregon felt. This is how all these teams feel when they play Boise State, bro.
Yeah, but they did the best job out of anyone though, as far as containing him. But it was just in winning time when you make a play to get your offense the ball, and they couldn't get off the field, bro. I was just like, wow.
And I didn't see them pull out the slot machines either because of the takeaways because they didn't get any. I don't think so. So
I think you might be right, but let's move along. I was hoping our Mountain West friend, I think his name is it Brian, was in here.
Yeah,
I know a lot of times he people always say, hey, you guys just talk about. I'm like, no, we talk G5 ball, especially in the offseason. I think we talk more G5 ball than P4 ball in the offseason.
While we on the Mountain West real quick, somebody got to save Nick Nash from the challenge. Somebody got to save him, bro. NFL team, Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy, save him because he's going through it right now at San Jose State.
He said, save him.
Please.
We saw a heavyweight battle Saturday night as Texas A&M defeated LSU 38-23, and this is after trailing by 10 points. Texas A&M is red hot right now, and they're on fire on a 7-game winning streak. Moon, it had to be interesting, and I'm kind of going to get you the feeling for my boy here to watch this game. Nino's a huge fan of Connor Wegman. Yep. While he's had rough patches this year, there's moments. He has moments. I'm like, I get it. I see why Jalen and Nino love this guy. I get it. But, what I'm saying? Nino's a huge fan of Connor Wegman, Garrett Nussmeier. But before I get your takeaways from this game, Moon, does A&M have a quarterback controversy?
No.
And who should be the guy at the helm?
I'm going to say no because we already know what should happen. But I could have made the argument that you could have gave him that Marcel the job when the season started. I think Elko, you coming into a new situation, you already just trying to get people, you're trying to stack momentum. It's almost like the compound effect. You're trying to just have a win after a win after a win as much as you can. No pun intended because they've been winning all that.
Right, for sure.
But just like in the quarterback room, like I want to stick with my guy as long as I possibly can, even though he's not really my guy.
Am I crazy to think that Connor Wegman still gives them the best chance to win? I saw what happened Saturday. There was a spark. You felt it in the stadium. You felt it with the team. When Marcel Reed got in the game, it was just like an instant spark, and I seen it. I felt for Connor Wegman in that moment. The emotions, he went through like 7 or 8 different emotions. It was all over his face. But they got some tough games down the stretch. Am I crazy to believe that Connor Wegman still gives them the best chance to win?
You're not crazy because every game in the SEC is going to be a different monster.
It is.
So 100%. Sometimes you're going to have to go on your deck and pull out Connor Wegman. I just hope Elko has the flexibility and all the monkeys off of his back to make those decisions when it's time. Not like a Rhett Lashley we talked about at the beginning of the year, where
more like a Mike Tomlin. What he said, that's why I'm well compensated.
That's why I
question him. Maybe you're right, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
But, I mean,
Then I'll chime in. I got a feeling you want to chime in on this too. Who should be the guy at quarterback, man?
Well, I guess to play devil's advocate, neither of these quarterbacks are Elko's guys. They were both there before.
That's
so he has no tie to either of them. But I think Reed, as of right now, is the better quarterback to roll with. I mean, we've seen what Connor has.
Too.
Yeah, we've seen what Connor is over the last year and a half or however long. Can't stay healthy, isn't a consistent passer. I mean, he went 6 for 18 before they yanked him. Can't go 33% in the SEC and keep your job. But Reed gives him that running capability. I think he's a better runner than Wegman is. He may even have a stronger arm when you watch some of the tapes. I feel like it's easier for him to zip it out there than Wegman. So, and I mean, as someone whose team is going through something kind of similar, you got to roll with the hot hand. And right now, I think Reed is the hot hand who gives him the better chance going down the road. But to touch on the topic prior, this game right here showed me and solidified my idea that Garrett Nussmeier needs to come back.
And you've been saying that. You've been consistent with that the entire time.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what Jalen texted me Saturday, by the way.
Yes, he threw for 400 plus yards, but it was on 50 plus passes. Didn't complete more than 60%. I know that. Had multiple picks. I think he comes back, develops just the little bit more that he needs, and he fights for that top QB job.
Is he QB1 next year? 2026?
Yeah. Him. Well, I guess it depends if Cade comes back as well. Those guys would be my 1A, 1B if they both
want a
back.
Quarterback, man. Just wait till 2026.
I don't think Cade stays, bro.
You feel like he's gonna leave, maximize on the market, but it's like I want to see.
Weapons are so young there that if he comes back, he could
light it up.
He could leave as one of the best quarterbacks of Clemson history.
Ever played there? You think ever? Who played there? Yeah.
They're gonna be looking at this man with a statue out there in Clemson, South Carolina. I know I'm pushing it in a little overdrive, but
I don't think so. I mean, he's playing lights out this year. But you're right. Sometimes it's hard because you got the person who comes back, develop, and then they're catapulted. But you also have it the other way around where they come back, it's a bad year, and now people are looking at them funny.
That's what I don't want to happen for Garrett Nussmeier. But he's getting all the picks and all the crazy plays out of his system now.
You know, I still think people don't know a lot of people don't know who he is, bro.
Garrett?
Yeah, I feel like, of course, the 1%ers are people who like watch college football every week. But you know, like a lot of the people who are hardcore NFL fans, they don't start paying attention to like the draft until like the season, their team seasons or who's the worst team in the NFL right now?
Probably like the Titans.
Panthers.
The Panthers.
The
all right,
Titans.
Panthers or Titans, right? They're not looking like they're gonna have a chance to make the playoffs. So maybe sooner or later they'll start looking at who's available to draft. But I would say the Masters aren't watching that type of stuff until January.
Yeah.
For this game, I'm gonna piggyback off of D now. But I just love the fact that Texas A&M in the second half like controlled the rock and controlled the pace of the game, and it just continued just to wear down LSU. And when you're in a situation like that, like you have to be able to have some type of another card that you can play that's different, just to switch up pace. I think about like Uno. If you can't in Uno and all of a sudden you in a rhythm and somebody comes out of nowhere, hits you with a draw 4, boom. Now you're in a weird situation. Now you got to stop what you're doing. I feel like when they made that quarterback change, it made LSU like hold up. And then he hit him in the face with just 94 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. That's not even including the fact that Moss, running back from Texas, had 83 yards, 2 touchdowns by himself too. It's just like, man, when A&M is dialing up pressure the way they were, when they are running a rock, it's like they're getting the memo. Teams that are going to do the best this postseason, and as you get down the stretches, is 2 teams that can play lights out defense and run the rock.
Run the ball.
Yeah, it gave A&M. They went from having Daniels and Moss,
Mhm.
I mean, running however they wanted against LSU, and then you threw in Reed. It gave them kind of that three-headed monster. I mean,
Exactly.
them together had 250 plus running yards. So I mean, that's a scary
Scary.
thought.
They got 6 out of 14 on third down.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, LSU was what 8 out of 17. So it's like, okay, but LSU only had 24 yards on the rushing on the ground. Like, when are we going to have that serious conversation? Brian Kelly actually came out after the end of the game
Brian
and was
Kelly is
like,
doo doo.
he said,
Facts.
we gotta do a better job of helping our quarterback. And it's just like, we could have told you that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but your offensive line is just looking really questionable to say the least. You coming into
It's
games and
supposed to be
teams
an
are
elite offensive line.
Will Campbell on the line, a bunch of other players on the line. So
Mhm.
it's like, we're not seeing that, but at A&M literally, it seemed like they were looking to get them in situations where they're on third down.
Mhm.
They were looking to pin their ears back and just get after him. And that's where it led us to have our moments where it said, Garrett Nussmeier, you are an absolute dog. You
yeah.
are a dog. He has some plays, like some of them, that lineman interception, like that could just be chalked up to great play, you know. But
When are
I,
they going to announce the starting quarterback?
they have to do it soon.
They
They
do.
have to do it soon. They can't let
Their
like
season depends on this, bro. Like, because I think they have a true opportunity to be in a SEC championship, bro.
if they don't
Oh yeah.
squander it away.
Yeah. If they and that's the key. Well, let's do some rapid fire questions with some teams that had great performances this past week. We'll alternate. Moon, I'm gonna start with you first. Oregon defeats Illinois 38-9.
Oregon is ready to be the number one team in the nation, and heavy as the head that wears a crown. But they just handle business like how they needed to, and everybody wants to give Dylan Mickey Mouse Gabriel a lot of hate, but I just love what he's cooking up. And Dan Lanning probably is the coach of the year right now.
I think there's a couple people in contention for it, but it's hard to argue Dan Lanning. Honestly, Colorado defeats Cincy 34-23. D, now this is your soapbox, bro. Talk your
Yes,
ish,
sir.
man.
Colorado is going to win the Big 12. I know they got a few teams that need to lose. I see it happening though. I think Kansas State drops a couple down the last month. Like I said before the season starts, Colorado's going to win the Big 12, fight for a playoff spot, and Shador is going to lead them all the way for the Heisman.
Wow. BYU defeats UCF 37-24. Mo.
Undefeated national champions of the world. I'm playing, but BYU fans really are on a high horse that they never felt, at least recently, being 8-0. The game, in my opinion, wasn't really even close. And Redsclaff, Jake, that guy is something special to watch. Ask UCF's defense how it was trying to guard him. RJ Harvey had 128 yards in the day, and his stats to get to this point in the season are quite impressive. But UCF's record at 3-5, 1-4 in conference is not impressive at all. They just fired their defensive coordinator Ted Roof, and a lot of people said that they shouldn't have hired him in the first place. Even though
If
he's
you
a
look
brilliant
at
guy.
his track record, it is horrendous. He has not been anywhere longer than a season and a half.
A lot of people saying that he only got hired because he's a Malzahn guy.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody would have told me in week 1 versus New Hampshire for UCF that they would be 3-5,
I
I would
called you a
have
liar.
told you
They were one
you're
of my
a
top
cat.
horses for the conference,
With
bro.
KJ, Boone, Harvey, all them. Yeah.
But also, somebody told me BYU would be undefeated. I would have been like,
no,
nope.
pass me
Not with Jerry Bohannon at quarterback. That's what I would have said.
Right.
Yeah.
So shout out to Redsclaff, man. And shout out to BYU. That is a tough environment at the play. And for them to do that nasty work to UCF on the road, I know they ready. I know they waiting for basketball season to start right now with Mikey Williams.
Oh, they are. You know they are. 100%. They are 100%. Gus Malzahn, bro. You got to put up a shutout. Auburn defeats Kentucky 24-10. Will they be bowl eligible? D now.
No, I think they lose 3 out of their next 4 games. I think Vandy beats them, A&M beats them, Bama beats them, so they finish 4-8.
What does that mean for Hugh Freeze?
He's got to be nervous, even as of right now. He's got to be nervous. I mean, Peyton Thorne has not looked
That's his guy
remotely like a quarterback.
too.
Just everything just seems off. I mean, yeah, they got Coleman coming in. Thought he was going to help Thorne develop a little bit better, but just hasn't. And I think if we see a mass exodus of talent this offseason from Auburn, this seat's just going to get that much hotter. If he doesn't get fired after this season, I don't think he makes it through all of next season.
Auburn doesn't have some of the same issues other programs have. The resources are plentiful. The brass is willing to spend money. Who do you want? Who do you need? How we need them to get here? No excuses.
Yeah, there should be zero reasons why teams like Vandy, Missouri, Arkansas are ahead of what once was a powerhouse team like Auburn.
Is Brian Harsin still at Auburn? Mike Bobo still calling plays? Like, what's really going on? I don't think they're bowl eligible either. So it really caused me to think like, yo, can they get there?
I think they are.
You think they're bowl eligible?
I think they are. I feel like they really can be. Auburn, Jake Crane, all the Auburn fans.
That they're giving away though. The Arkansas game they gave away, but Arkansas almost gave that game away too.
Yeah, they've been throwing. They was throwing it back and forth to each other. Like, no, you take it. No, I'll take it. No, you take it.
They got to win 3 games. So out of Vandy, ULM, A&M, and Bama, who do you see them beating?
Vandy, ULM, and A&M. They don't beat Bama though.
A&M who?
Texas A&M. I'm Joker with the head out of the window this college football season. It's Halloween. It's Halloween time. I need to see upsets galore. However, the reason why I have confidence in saying that is one person and one person alone, KT and D now. Jarquez Hunter. That's who. Give the rock to Jarquez Hunter.
Load the box.
Get out of the way. Load the box to 10 people. One deep safety. Engage 8.
yeah. That's tough, but that's why the games are played. I don't see them being bowl eligible, but I like that take though. If you're right, you'll be able to come back and have a spicy take like D now.
It just made me encouraged to see that type of rushing dominance, even though it was against Kentucky. I was like, oh my god, like.
But you know, Kentucky defense has been very hot and cold this year. There's games that they look elite, and then there's games like, well, nah, they're not as elite as we thought they were.
I heard it through the grapevine that Jarquez Hunter texted his teammates this past week and was like, I'm sorry for not holding y'all on my back, carrying y'all on my back. And he went out. It was like, I'm a grown man. Hand me the football.
Right goddamn now. Penn State defeats Wisconsin 28-13.
This one sucks for me because it's like our relationship with Wisconsin is so lit that like I'm always rooting for Wisconsin. But in this game, the crowd was electric. In the first half, I thought that Wisconsin Badgers had him, man.
Right.
I thought that they had him. Drew Aller getting hurt, it put like a monkey wrench into Penn State's plans, but they didn't fold. Jair Brown helped keep the momentum on their side. Abdul Carter has some splash plays. Their defense is probably one of my favorite defenses to watch in the entire nation. Them in Notre Dame, just because they're secondary. Like I just love their secondary. Nick Singleton and Kaytron Allen, you can debate back and forth who you think is a better running back, but I think that they got to get more chocolate, more strawberry, more flavors other than vanilla because their blocking skills are like hard. It's just hard to watch sometimes. Wisconsin, they're 5-3, 2-2. I mean 3-2 in conference, so it's like they still can play. Spoiler for a lot of teams out there, and they still playing they right on the edge of a bowl game, bro.
I think Luke Fickle has gotten some respect back. I think we were looking at him after last season, like,
what are you doing, Slim?
Wait till
even this season, no. Even this season, though, we were literally saying the beginning of the season, why are you trying to run a spread with power I players?
Right.
What are you doing? But now it's like. So I kind of give Wisconsin a break. I kind of stall them out, but at the same time, Penn State has just been cooking, man. And I do feel like it's going to be Penn State versus Oregon. That's my takeaway.
That's scary. And I think they can beat Oregon. I think
they got the secondary to make it very comfortable.
Yeah, that if you hit Dylan Gabriel and rough him up a little bit, You have a chance. Alabama defeats Mizzou 34 to Nathaniel. D now.
I mean, you kind of saw this coming. Brady Cook was questionable before the game. No Nate Noel. I mean, you got to give Brady Cook some props for trying to play, but once Drew Pine came in, I mean, it's all she wrote.
Yeah. I have nothing else to say, so I'm just going to shut up.
Yeah, there's
man. Y'all really tried to talk to me in the offseason and tell me how Missouri had the perfect schedule to shape out and for a deep college football playoff run.
Well,
I'm never gonna forget it.
If there was an easy schedule in the SEC, they had the toughest schedule in the country. I knew things were weird when I watched BC march into Columbia. I'm like, yo, BC should have won that game. And you see it, and it felt like Luther Burden and Brady Cook aren't on the same wavelength that they were on last year. No. But, it is what it is. They're 100% frauds, and they've joined the fraud list this year. Who should win the Heisman and why? I'm coming to D now first.
I mean, we all know where I stood originally. I think he still has a decent chance because they'll play some big-name games at the end of the – but as of right now, if I had to pick, I would go with Dylan Gabriel. Mm-hmm. He's finally got it clicking. He's got a high completion percentage, and they're the number one team.
Yeah.
So,
and he's going to add to his catalog in these next upcoming games as far as his place in history, as far as one of the best passers at the collegiate level for a career. Moon, who should win the Heisman and why?
My normal answer is going to be Cam Ward. Why? Because there's no player that means more to their team than Cam Ward means for Miami. Miami would not be the number 6, 5, 4, however you want to rank them, team in the nation if Cam Ward wasn't their quarterback. He's been putting up consistent product week in and week out for the last 9 weeks now. Mm-hmm. Starting week 1 versus Florida all the way up now to where we are now. I can get people penalizing for the turnovers, but I mean, he is human. They actually decided that they wanted to run the ball, so like they kind of want to take away some things, but the schedule shapes up. My dark horse to win the Heisman, I'm gonna look into the camera and tell y'all this: the dark horse to win the Heisman is Cade Klubnik. The schedule shakes out perfect for him to do so. The ACC is getting kind of pushed to the wayside when it comes to the AP poll.
How many Heisman moments he need though?
I think he needs at least 2, and they play South Carolina, USC.
The schedule maps out, but when you think of Heisman, you think of team success, individual success, plus a moment or two that really solidify. Hey, this
ACC championship, South Carolina.
He's got opportunities.
Those 2 was like the ones that stick them to my head as far as Cade. But I mean, I said it in the chat earlier, man. Garrett Riley must be getting that man some cutty because Georgia woke up the sleeping giant that is Clemson. Oh my gosh.
Clemson's been playing well. If I voted today, my vote would be either Genty or Travis Hunter. But because the Heisman doesn't come out for another couple of weeks, I know there will be teams with opportunities. So my preseason pick was Dylan Gabriel. My postseason, I still feel the same. It'll be Dylan Gabriel.
Can I play devil's advocate against all the Ashton Genty lovers out there?
Absolutely.
So on the season, he's got 159 carries, 13 and some change yards, 18 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. To put that into perspective, he's
159 carries.
Yeah, he's about 40% of the team's offense. Mm-hmm. So now the other best running back in the country, Caleb Johnson, he's got 146 yards, almost 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns. He's about 48% of Iowa's offense, which just shows teams know every other play it's going to go to Caleb Johnson, where 4 out of every 10 is going to go to Genty. So, and Johnson's doing and putting up these numbers against arguably the second best conference in the country, where Genty's played Oregon.
I think it's an argument for the best conference in the country, honestly.
Yeah, you could do that, but I mean, Gentry's played Oregon.
Right. Hey man, hey, I love it. I think Nino seconds that thought is
I mean,
well.
I love the Caleb Johnson talk.
Mm.
I just think that their quarterback is so bad that it makes them have to run the ball.
He's not our
like that.
quarterback anymore.
Not
So-
anymore.
Oh, you guys missed him?
Yeah. Well, I think he got hurt
Okay.
hurt during Northwestern.
We know how that
Technically.
and they put Sully in, and the place erupted
Thank
Yeah.
when he
God for
went in.
Sully.
So yeah, McNamara's not even on the 2 depth
That
this
sounds
week.
like when Caleb Williams went in versus
Yeah.
Oklahoma and Spencer Rattler came out. It's been a fun episode. Moon, any closing words?
Shout out to University of Pittsburgh for hosting us on the CFB Nation tour this week. Shout out to Jacksonville State University for hosting us on tour this week. We greatly appreciate y'all so much. My time at Jacksonville State was absolutely
You look like you had a
amazing.
blast. You look like
They know how to party in Jacksonville, Alabama.
You said the players were talking to you, which is
The players. I was on the sidelines talking to the players when I found out that Liberty lost to Kennesaw State. They was talking. It was like, yo, did you know Liberty lost? I said, what did you just say? I said, Liberty lost to who? Kennesaw State? No way. And we were all talking about it on the sideline. It was crazy. But shout out to them. Shout out to y'all for watching. Shout out to CFB Nation, all the people that's involved, a part of it. Appreciate you greatly. Make sure you check out thecfbnation.com for all your latest in the college football world.
Yes.
Take care of you. Make sure you covered.
Funny, bro.
And I guess my final thought is Kirk Signetti, man.
Yeah.
Never would have thought I would be sitting in a world where Indiana is just doing freaking unbelievable right now. That would be my final thought.
Love it. Dina.
Yeah, I just have to echo what Moon said. Thanks to all the schools that brought us out last season, this season. You guys, you two in particular, are killing it on the tour. So much love to you guys. And again, Coach C, taking a basketball school, making them a football program, and not getting enough love. So Google that man.
A blue blood basketball school too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. My closing words are, hey man, yeah, I truly appreciate you guys. This thing ain't possible without everybody playing their role, doing everything that they do so well. For my guy, Senator D now.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Moon. It's been a fun show. As I always like to say, there are no more victories in a sport that survive and advance. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. College basketball is on the way. You just want to let everybody know. Until next time, you all take care.
Yes, sir. Oh yeah. Shout out Colorado too, man.
Yes, sir. Today I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, aka Downtown Nino Brown.